You know, having a commercial driver's license has a lot of responsibility behind it, and that responsibility falls directly on the driver. So today I'm here with Chris Moyer, who is an operator for us and also a one of our expert over-the-road drivers. So Chris, welcome.
Hi there, how you doing?
Fantastic. Thanks for being here. So today we're going to talk about the proper methods to hook up a trailer. So I'm Chris Larson. Welcome to Frontline Focus. So, Chris, we're back here at the attachment point for the trailer, and I know there's some very serious things that we need to take a look at here. So maybe you could explain a few things. One of the first things I notice is this chain on the side seems to be a little bit long, and I've seen people before twist up the chain in order to make it shorter. Is that the right thing to do, or what's the correct way to
Sure,
do
really,
this?
yeah. Twisting up the chain's not the right way to do it. These are all easily adjustable, so it's real quick and easy to go ahead and make the chain the proper length.
Why don't you show us how to do that, please?
You take these pins out here. This chain will pull away from the neck, be able to slide in and out. Just get the proper length. You don't want it so long where if the trailer disconnects, it's going to go crazy all over the place. But you don't want it so short where if you're doing sharp turns, it's not going to catch up on the steel either. Most important part here is get this chain into its slot. So this thing slides back into the frame of the trailer. And this pin goes in front of the chain, not through the chain. We see this a lot when we pick these trailers up. This pin is through the chain. There's a lot of thick steel in here that's designed to hold that chain back under extreme conditions.
So this pin is just designed really to hold the chain in its key slot there.
Exactly, just keeps it from backing out. And you're going to want to make sure that sometimes these pins get out of adjustment. Just manipulate a little bit, make sure it's sitting into the groove so it can't pop out.
So, and again, with, the thing with a loose chain like that, it's very possible and likely and has happened where that chain will drag on the pavement and create sparks and could actually set the whole world on fire.
Sure, it's going to do that. It's also going to wear down the chain, makes it weaker for the next guy. That's a real good way to get pulled over as well.
Okay, so Chris, we adjusted our chains here to make them a little bit shorter here so they weren't dragging on the ground. But now this area has gotten a little bit low, and it's a little bit concerning to me because that chain on the ground could certainly cause sparks, which could ignite a fire in certain situations. What are we going to do about that?
Right. So yeah, they make these chains long enough that way, depending on what truck you're hooking up to, you always have enough room. So sometimes they do get long. Let's just you can just throw a zip tie on here and secure it up. Nothing wrong with that. If you have a roll of tape in your pocket, you can get it done with tape too, as long as you put enough on there. That just keeps it out of harm's way.
Very good. Thank you. So let's look at the trailer hookup here. So this trailer, there's a couple of different plugins here. I noticed this one here is for the electrical trailer brakes. And then we have the glad ends here that are for air brakes, if we happen to have those. And then here we have the anti-lock braking system. So how is this configuration set up and why is it like that?
Correct. So sometimes you do only have one, but when you have the glad hands, you're always going to have two. And this plug will very easily go into this outlet. Make sure you're in the electrical side. Sometimes they're not marked. The ABS will always have a thicker cable going to it. So that's one way to check if these aren't legible or they're not marked.
Now, how about this pintle hitch, this locking system here? What's the technique with that?
Right. There's a couple different styles. Some have plungers, some don't. But the bottom line is make sure it's completely seated. The pin is, in fact, proper size in and engaged. Again, if you need to manipulate that a little bit to engage better, then that's what you want to do. Also, on the hookup points here with your chains, make sure your keepers are in. If you got welds, look at the welds, make sure they're not cracked.
So I do have one more question, and this is a fairly common thing that I've heard about. So I notice here that you have the chain on the port side of the trailer. It's hooked up to the starboard side of the truck and vice versa. So you've crossed those chains. What's the purpose of that?
Right, exactly. It's basically a cradle. So when this tongue falls down, it just catches it better, helps it from going side to side too bad, and can probably keep it much higher up off the ground so it's not digging in as bad.
Oh, and I do have a question, though. You mentioned about being up off the ground. So this trailer has adjustable plates here so we could raise or lower it. What's the significance of that, and what do we really want to be looking for?
Right. The main purpose of that, you have 2 points. If your trailer's fairly level, you have your axles evenly distributed with the weight, and then you also have all 4 tires braking. If your trailer's too nose low or too nose high, you're really not going to have enough downforce on 2 of your tires. You're not going to have braking, and it's also going to be overloading the single axle.
So for adequate braking strength, we want to make sure that trailer's as level as we can possibly get it.
Yes, close counts level as you can get it for sure.
Okay, my next question is this right here. What's this safety chain attached for, this cable?
All right, so this is your breakaway in case you do come detached from your truck. This thing is going to jerk on it, and it's going to pull this out, and then your electric brakes will automatically engage to help pull the put the trailer to a stop. So you're just, when you get in your vehicle before you drive away, you want to disconnect this, put your vehicle in drive, and let it idle, and make sure your trailer is in fact pulling against you. And don't forget to hook that back up.
So if you have that disconnected and we try to pull forward with the trailer, what's going to happen with our brakes?
Your brakes will engage and let you know that they are in fact working.
Very good. All right, Chris, so we also have a connection here for the brakes, presumably, and the trailer lights. What's the situation with that if we have to extend our trailer?
Well, yes, the important part of this to remember is that you got to unplug this before you extend your neck. There's other ports throughout the neck that you can plug that back into. This just basically just joins your electrical system all the way through.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to cover on the trailer?
Well, you know, we're walking around. We're making sure nothing's going to loose or going to fall off. We're making sure our jack's all the way up. We're making sure that we don't have a bunch of rocks that's going to fly off on the road. Nothing's going to fly out of here. If you have a bunch of stuff hanging around, you got to make sure it's secured. It's not going to fly off the road, hitting a pothole or something.
So, and I do know that having our load secured adequately so nothing flies off is a huge focus for the road inspection, things like that. And obviously for safety purposes, we don't want things falling off of our vehicle that could bounce into another, hit another car, cause an accident or incident down the road.
Yes, absolutely. This trailer specifically has 4 straps to itself. Sometimes you got some short pieces, you have to add a couple of straps. You definitely need to do that. If you got, say, a load of steel and steel can be sliding on other steel, you need to come around, wrap the strap around the load to bind it together. That way stuff can't walk out as you're going down the road.
Okay. What else do we want to look at as we're walking around checking our trailer here?
Well, you're looking at lug nuts, for sure. You're making sure that your tires are adequately inflated and there's no oil residue coming out involved, letting you know that you have a leaky hub.
And these trailers, even, if we have a trailer hook, this is part of the EVIR, correct? Or the DVR, whether we're doing a written one or electronic. So this needs to have a thorough walk around done on.
Yes, it has its own separate DVIR that you need to put on. So you got to make sure if you're driving down the road and you're hooking up to a trailer, you've already done your truck DVIR, then you definitely want to pull out your DVIR phone and add the trailer to it. They will certainly check that. Another
thing I want to add is if you're going past a weigh station, you are required to stop in. You cannot pass up the weigh stations or you will get a ticket for that. Yes. What else do we want to take a look at, Chris?
I've also seen people with loads going through an unloaded line in a weigh station. So sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So just know if they pull you over on something like that, they're going to go through everything and get you on anything they can.
So again, as we go, I want to make sure the latches are closed on the gate if there is one. We're going to double check our lights before we leave, right? Yes. And also check the brakes by disabling the electric brake system and making sure there's tension on there.
Right. There's several moving parts. Make sure everything's got a proper keeper in it and that it is secure.
Well, very good, Chris. I appreciate you being here and filling us in on this information.
Yes, sir.
I hope you guys got something out of this video. Thank you for joining us today on Frontline Focus. See you down the road. Here are the safety statistics for week ending 14 May. To date, we've had 2 OSHA recordable incidents. We do have an uptick in our motor vehicle incidents. To date, we've had 38 motor vehicle incidents. Of those, 16 have been at fault. Please focus on your driving. Remember, there are over 200 million people out there with the keys to a lethal weapon. So please follow a minimum of 4 seconds behind the vehicle in front of you. Have a great day.